Hey everyone, it's Brandon Lee, host of the podcast Escaping Rock Bottom. So good to have you with us on this episode. I'm really excited about this one because I met Stephen Ayers here at Art of Our Soul. He works over at one of our partnering treatment centers, Solutions of Sobriety. And the first time I met him, he did incredible artwork, and then all of a sudden I looked in the back of the studio and Stephen was dancing. And one of his fellow coworkers says, "Brandon, you have no idea how big of a thing that is," because he's actually been in so much pain physically. To see him kind of up and agile and moving again is amazing. So, Stephen, man, it's good to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm so excited just to learn more about you and your story.
Okay.
And Stephen, on the podcast, I always ask everyone to take me back to the very beginning. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Minnesota.
Okay. Minnesota nice.
Yes.
Or was it Minnesota nice to your face?
Minnesota, eh? You know what I mean?
People always say like, "Oh, Minnesota nice," and I'm like, yeah, sometimes Minnesota nice to your face.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. No, it wasn't.
So take me back to your childhood, just so I can kind of understand a little bit more about what did that childhood look for Stephen.
Okay, so I was born in Minnesota, like I said, and it was not a very nice road. So when I was 5, I was sexually molested by my dad, and my dad was like my role model at that time. Taught me how to do sports, and for that to be taken from me was really, really hard. And then we were taken from my dad and went to group homes. Me and my sister. In and out of group homes. It was just miserable. So that was about 7. And about when I was 10 years old, we found this beautiful family, a foster home. But it happened there too, with one of their boys. Kind of the same thing what happened with my dad happened there too. And I didn't tell anybody. This is the first time I ever tell anybody in the world what happened there. But I didn't want to be taken. I didn't want to have to go somewhere else with me and my sister. I just felt like searching for love for a long time. Just want to be like loved and like accepted, and I didn't get that. And I thought that going to this foster home, being Christian family based, that I was going to get that, and it was taken from me there too. Yeah. So
Were you assaulted there as well?
I was molested, yes, by their youngest boy. It was kind of hard to. I didn't know if I wanted to say this in the story, but I think it's what you really talk about, and I really like, is about trauma. And the more we talk about it, the better you get to breathe and feel and let that boulder off your back. So I wanted to implicate that in my story too. That it just didn't happen with my family. It happened where I was supposed to be safe at too, with the state, and I didn't get that.
First off, let me just say that I'm sorry you experienced that. As somebody who survived, I never say suffer, I say survive.
Yeah.
Survived child sex abuse. It's so damaging.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about trauma, that when trauma impacts our life and trauma hits us head on, it actually changes the makeup of the brain, especially when that traumatic event happens in those early childhood years.
Right.
It actually changed the makeup, the way our brain develops, and it throws off our wiring. And so when I was molested and sexually abused as a child, it's no wonder that at age 15, I became a cocaine addict and I became a sex addict. And so it's because of the wiring of my brain when that traumatic life event happened.
Yeah.
And so I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry that you had to experience that, because I say it in my classrooms all the time. Trauma's the gateway.
Yeah.
Trauma is the reason why we numb.
Yep.
And I think it's really important for people to understand, sometimes people go, yeah, but Brandon, it's a genetic disease. And I'm like, okay, it's a genetic disease. But a lot of people are born with a genetic makeup that would predispose them to many diseases. And oftentimes they won't get it. Trauma triggers it.
Absolutely.
We may have a genetic makeup to addiction, right?
Yeah.
But trauma is what triggers that. So when that happened to you as a child, when did your life, because eventually, and I tell people this too, that energy unless we heal from it, it'll come out sideways. And like I said, it started coming off the rails for me. My life did at age 15. So when did you start to misbehave? Because that's the way that energy is going to come out.
16.
16.
Yeah, that's when I found, marijuana. Try to fit in with groups. I just didn't hang out with the jocks, or I hung out with everyone so I can know everyone that's going on around me, right?
Right.
But I found marijuana at 16, and kind of just went off from there. I didn't use anything else until I was like 17, 18. I used crack, found that. And I think the thing that really hit me the most was meth at 18 years old. And that's when my downward spiral, 23, 24 years of using that on a daily basis. There was maybe 3 years out of that 24 years that I've used every single day, just to mask the trauma. I didn't ever talk about it. I had the therapist that I had to talk to at the foster home. But, when you're that young, how do you talk to somebody about what happened? When you trying to trust someone, how do I trust that individual that I don't know? How am I going to feel loved by this individual that I don't know? And I've been searching for that for all my life, is love. When am I going to absolutely feel that from an individual? Because I was taking that from me at 5, and that was really difficult. And I'm still searching for that,
And I think too, what makes it really hard, because how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I just turned 47 last Friday.
Okay, so you and I are both of the same generation. I'm 42.
Yeah.
And I think that, when we were growing up, our parents, Stephen, they lived with these sayings. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Yep.
I'll give you something to cry about.
Oh, yeah.
Don't air your dirty laundry. Don't cry over spilled milk.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Those are horrible sayings, and I'll tell you why. Because they're basically telling you, hold it all in.
Yep.
Don't let the world know you're suffering. Don't let the world know you're in pain. Toughen up.
Yep.
That is awful because it doesn't allow us to heal.
I agree.
It doesn't allow us to heal. And so unfortunately for you and I, we were never given that safe space when we were kids to be able to voice what was happening to us so that you and I could have healed so much earlier in life. We weren't given that opportunity, and we had to numb because we were in survival mode.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What did that rock bottom for you look like? Because you did do time.
Oh, I did 5 years. Yes, 5 years flat. I didn't do time until I was 40. I took the charges, so my woman at the time wouldn't go to prison because we had a stepdaughter. So I took the charges, and because that's what the man does, right?
What happened? If you don't have to go into detail. But...
No, so I'll go in detail. She was selling drugs, and I had the real job out. I was a carpet installer for 5.5 years, and we just got raided. But, I can tell you, Brandon, when that time happened, I was praying to my higher power, please take this from me. I'm done. I had enough. I walked away from 2 beautiful children in Minnesota that didn't get an opportunity to know who Steve was. And I think I still suffer from that because they didn't get to know who Steve was. But how do you talk to children when you're numb? When you're messed up? How do you go and see your children when you're messed up out of your gourd? What is that showing your kids?
Yeah, it's actually passing down generational trauma.
Absolutely.
Is what that is. And unfortunately, our parents' generation and their parents' generation, they thought of vulnerability as a weakness.
Yeah.
Thank God this new generation coming up is being taught that vulnerability is a strength.
Absolutely.
And if we want to stop the systemic... If we want to stop generational trauma, we have to heal.
Yeah.
So we don't pass it down to the kids.
Yep.
So you had nothing to offer because you were hurting and you were so traumatized.
Yeah. But I suffer from that now because they don't want nothing to do with... So they say in recovery you got to change your whole life, right?
Right.
I was Steve when I was using, and I never liked being called Steven. Now I'm Steven. I'm a new person. a new individual, a new man that's have goals now. And I didn't want them to know who Steve was. I want them to know who Stephen is. That, hey, I suffered, but I didn't want you to see me suffer. So I thought I was doing the best thing for my kids' interest. So I'm really glad we got to do this today, because I hope that they get to see and learn what I went through and why I wasn't there as an individual, why I couldn't be a dad or a father, because I just couldn't see them the way I was. You know, I didn't want to put that impact of trauma on them at an early age. So I just didn't go around. I didn't call. But now I feel I'm suffering from that because I miss them. You know, I just want them to know that I'm doing good. Yeah.
You know, I don't have kids, so I don't know the level of heartbreak that you're feeling right now.
Yeah.
And thank you for your vulnerability, and thank you for sharing this. Because I know there's a lot of people who are watching and listening right now who will be able to relate to this.
Yeah.
Stephen, I want to share something with you, and I hope it will give you hope. I suffered a lot of child sex abuse, and I also suffered just a lot of abuse.
Yeah.
Emotionally and physically at times. I know now. You know, we say all the time, if we don't take this moment in our journey to heal from the cuts that have made us bleed, we will bleed on others who have never hurt us. My mother suffered horrible trauma as a child. She was told, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I'll give you something to cry about. And so my mom, unfortunately, never healed from the cuts that made her bleed. And sadly, she bled all over me as a child and at times as an adult. Now, I understand and have so much empathy for her, because she did the best she could with the tools she had at the time.
Right.
And I know that her intent was to never hurt me nor harm me. I know her intent was never bad. And I know my mom loves me, and she loves me unconditionally, and she wants nothing but the best for me. I can see that now.
Yeah.
And for the first time in almost 7 years, I've started talking to my mom in the last 2 months.
That's amazing.
Great conversations. And I told her, Mom, I know you went through a lot when you were a kid. I don't know the details. I don't need to know. But I just want to let you know that I love you. And I know you did the best you could.
Yeah.
And you still do the best you can.
Yeah.
She says, after every phone call now, I love you, and I'm so proud of you. It took me understanding her pain
Yeah.
and the empathy I have for her. And now she's saying what I've always wanted her to say to me.
Yeah.
I love you, and I'm proud of you, verbalizing it.
Yeah.
I know she always felt that way now, but sometimes we need to hear it.
Absolutely.
But Stephen, I say that to you because I hope that one day your kids will understand you did what you did because of the trauma that you had faced, and you were unhealed at that time.
Yeah.
And I hope one day they will see this version of you and build that relationship with you again.
Yeah.
Because it's possible.
Absolutely.
There were times that I truly thought that I may never have a relationship with my mother ever again during this lifetime. And I'm so grateful at the age of 42 that we are rebuilding that mother-son relationship.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But I have to tell you, Brandon, that at age 46, I had a massive heart attack. It was called a widowmaker while I was working, flown in a helicopter, a COVID, pneumonia, valley fever, and I was at a low place in my life. I couldn't dress myself. I couldn't take my socks off. But when I walked through these doors here, Brandon, the last word in your says "Art of Our Soul." It awoken me up, and I just wanted to give up on life. I was just drained. I couldn't move, arthritis bound, and it touched my soul. So know that that you touched one individual who's sitting in front of you. That it does take just one little sprinkle of that enlightenment. So I just want you to know what you're doing here really saved my life. I just wanted to let you know that what you're doing here is amazing. And I just thank God every day for coming here every month to see individuals grow like I can. That your podcasts, allowing other individuals to share their story like I can. But you're just amazing. What you do here is that it really touches my soul. That you saved my life, really.
That means like you're gonna make me tear up. I just got my hair. See, like the hair on my arms is standing up. You know what that is? Like literally, it's like static clean. Like the hair on my arms is standing up, and I'll tell you this because that's spirit, right? Yeah. I got goosebumps all over head to toe right now. And this is spirit who's present with me right now, just letting me know that I'm on my right path. Right?
Absolutely.
That Brandon, you're doing what you need to be doing. And people give me credit, and I give myself no credit, and I give all the credit to Spirit. And I'll tell you this, because Spirit saved my life, and Spirit gave me the dream. People ask me all the time, like, how did you even come up with the concept of this place? I'm like, I didn't. I dreamt it, and I only had that dream because of Spirit. And Spirit's guiding me and leading me because I'm open and vulnerable to allow that to happen.
Right.
And so I thank you, but
absolutely.
I really thank Spirit. And so, for giving me the opportunity,
absolutely.
And the platform to do it. And I, like I said, I have that video on my phone of you dancing, and I didn't know that was a big deal until Katie came up to me and she goes, "Brandon, you don't understand. Like, he's been really having physical ailments. So to see him in there, and I think that one thing is that I love about what we do is it just distracts the mind. It distracts the mind, and I think so oftentimes early in recovery, it can be heavy, right?
Yeah.
It can be heavy because we're doing a lot of internal work. And I really think it's important that people find joy in those early stages as well. So I'm grateful that I get to see you once a month. And that Solutions of Sobriety has been such a great partner of ours for the past several months and hopefully forever. What was it like when you transitioned out of prison? And I know you went to New Freedom.
Absolutely.
So, which is, we'll kind of explain New Freedom to folks. New Freedom is a program that started in the last couple of years. And really it begins in prison.
Yep.
You have to really start on good behavior in prison, start the program in prison, and then about 6 months before you're released. And then when you're released, they actually converted an old hotel right off the I-17 and converted it into a massive treatment center for folks who have been in prison and locked up to really help build the foundation of recovery so that they can go on to be contributing members of society, kind of build up some money, build up that good stuff, go get a job, and that way you can put a roof over your head and provide for yourself rather than running and using drugs. Yeah. What was that program like for you?
It was amazing. So I when I got out of prison, I went there and there was like 3 other people, me and 2 other guys who stayed there. So we kind of got to see it grow from nothing to where
you were like the first class.
There's like 400 individuals there, and from start to 3 to have it in 1 year to have over 400 people there is just amazing. But I did 89 days there, and had a relapse at the pool with 5 other individuals, and went to Crossroads Arcadia 2 days later to really work on myself. Work on my steps, and it saved my life. that I really dug deep in those 60 days. And I told Joe and other people there at New Freedom, I'm like, will you please let me allow to come back to finish this program? I just didn't start here. Let me allow to finish. And they say, you come with a certificate, I'll allow you to come back. And I graduated Crossroads with a certificate and went back to New Freedom. Got my peer sports specialist certificate there, graduated. And while I was there 2 days before my graduation, I found solution sobriety. And now I'm a house manager. Next month on the 4th, we'll be there for a year. You know, I'm being successful. I've never been successful. And, I'm 47. I've never been successful. I always run from it. Now, last week on my birthday, I bought myself a car for the first time in my entire life.
That's awesome.
I've only had my license since February. So, Solutions Sobriety is really helping me grow as an individual to be successful in what I want to do. I want to help other people. I want to teach. I want them to know that, hey, if I can do it, 23 years of addiction, and to pull myself out of it, let me allow to help you, because that's where I found it. I found it in prison. So I was a teacher's aide there for 4.5 years. I got my high school diploma with a 3.4. Nice. Going to school, I was like a 1.2, just D's and F's, but graduated with a 3.4. And that's where I found out that where I wanted to help other individuals. I learned sign language from one of my guys. I'm completely deaf. I taught him how to read, write, doing math. It was just an experience, and I knew if I can do that, I can help anybody in this world. And that's where I found my calling, is to teach and help others. I was in prison.
Gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And the beautiful lesson about that is that I say too all the time is that, when a traumatic experience happens,
mm-hmm.
it is actually an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for us to face it,
mm-hmm.
heal from it, grow from it, and then help others through theirs.
Yeah.
And that's what trauma is,
mm-hmm.
right? Because what happened to you as a child is not okay. What happened to me as a child is not okay. Okay. But my shaman asked me this question: Brandon, do you love the life you have for yourself today? Toby, I love my life today. He says, good. You need to give thanks to that relapse you experienced in 2020, Brandon, because without that experience, you would not have this life you have today.
I agree.
Brandon, do you love the life you have today? Toby, I love my life I have today. He says, good. You need to give thanks for the trauma you experienced as a child, because without that experience, Brandon, you would not have this life you have today. And it really got me to see trauma through a different lens.
Yeah.
To instead be victim of, to survivor of, and healed from. Because healed people heal people.
Yeah. It's not so hurtful anymore, is it?
No.
No, it's peaceful.
It's peaceful. I can actually speak about it.
Yeah.
Without getting emotional about it. And trust me, it's not because I didn't feel emotion about it. I have cried about it. I have screamed about it.
Absolutely.
That energy is just out of my body now. So I don't have to numb.
Yep.
I don't have to run. And I don't have to be triggered when life gets tough to numb. Because I've already allowed myself to reprocess all of that traumatic energy in my body. Right?
Yeah.
Because when we can see trauma through a different lens and a different perspective, we no longer have to say, well, this happened to me.
Yeah.
Right. That's it.
Yeah.
There's always the opposite true. Hurt people hurt people.
Yep.
Healed people heal people. And you have an opportunity now, from all the work that you have done and the man that you have become, to go out there, Stephen, and heal people. That's what you get to go do now.
Yeah, I'm ready.
And there's a purpose for you. There is a reason why your soul experienced all that trauma. There is a reason for it. And you are learning what that reason is now.
Absolutely.
And I hope, as we end this podcast, I hope for you that by doing the good work that you continue to do, by helping others, that your relationship with your children will heal over time.
Absolutely.
But they don't want words.
Action.
They want action.
Absolutely.
You keep living your action, I can almost promise you they'll come back.
Yeah.
As children, we want a mom. We want a dad. We just want to see them doing well.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And I promise you it'll happen.
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks for sharing some
Absolutely.
of your story.
Thanks for having me.
Seriously, it's going to bring a lot of hope to a lot of people out there. Especially, I'll tell you what, especially for parents out there
Yeah.
who are dealing with a child who is facing prison time. And I love what you said. Prison saved your life.
It did.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's what we need.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes parents do everything they can to prevent their child from going to prison, and they end up enabling them.
Yeah.
So parents, if you're out there fearing that your child will end up in prison because of their current behavior, and you're fearing that, and you continue to enable them, give them money, give them rent money, pick them up all the time, rescue them, listen to what Stephen is saying in this podcast right now.
Truly saved my life.
It saved his life. And sometimes for some people, that's what they need.
Yep.
So, dude, you have an incredible message.
Thank you.
Go out there and share it. Share it. Breathe it. Live it. And help so many people.
I will.
My man, Stephen.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you. And thank you at home for watching this episode of Escaping Rock Bottom. We'll see you back here for the next episode.